Guinness World Records isn't just a book sitting on your grandma's coffee table. It's a museum of human obsession, dedication, and let's be honest, some questionable life choices. Every year, thousands of people wake up and decide that today is the day they'll eat 50 hot dogs, grow their toenails to terrifying lengths, or let bees cover their entire body for fun. And somehow, there's an official organization ready to hand them a certificate for it. Today, we're diving into the most bizarre, jaw-dropping, and sometimes stomach-turning records that actually exist. From people who turned their bodies into pin cushions to individuals who made cockroaches their breakfast. Here are 50 records that prove humanity has absolutely no limits when it comes to chasing glory. Buckle up, because this ride gets weird fast. Rule 1. Let's start with something that'll make you never complain about your Monday again. The record for the most Big Macs eaten in a lifetime belongs to Donald Gorski from Wisconsin, who has consumed over 34,000 Big Macs since 1972. That's not a typo. This man has eaten a Big Mac nearly every single day for over 50 years. He keeps every receipt and burger container as proof because, apparently, his arteries weren't evidence enough. Doctors have checked him, and somehow his cholesterol is normal. Meanwhile, you eat one extra slice of pizza, and your jeans stop fitting. Would you dedicate your entire life to one specific food, just to see your name in a book? Rule 2. If you thought your nail-biting habit was bad, meet Lee Redmond, who held the record for the longest fingernails ever on a pair of hands. Her nails measured a combined total of 8.65 meters, roughly the length of a small bus. She grew them for nearly 30 years, which means 3 decades of not being able to tie her own shoes, button a shirt, or do literally anything normal humans do with their hands. Tragically, she lost them in a car accident in 2009. Imagine spending 30 years on something and losing it in a single moment. That's not just a record. That's an emotional devastation that no certificate can fix. Rule 3. Ever wondered what happens when someone decides their face needs more metal than a hardware store? Rolf Buchholz from Germany holds the record for most body modifications on a male, with over 516 modifications, including 481 piercings and implants that give him horn-like bumps on his forehead. He looks like a final boss in a video game about body art. Airport security must absolutely love this guy. Do you think there's a point where you look in the mirror and think, maybe one more piercing? Or does it become an addiction nobody talks about? Rule 4. The fastest time to eat a raw onion is held by Yusuke Yamaguchi from Japan, who devoured a full onion in just 29.56 seconds. A raw onion. The thing that makes you cry just by cutting it. He chomped through it like it was a crispy apple, while the rest of us can barely handle onion rings. Scientists still haven't figured out how his taste buds survived the assault. This man's breath after the attempt probably violated several international treaties on chemical warfare. What food would you be willing to speed eat for a world record, knowing millions would watch your suffering? Rule 5. Speaking of eating things no sane person would, Ken Edwards from England holds the record for most cockroaches eaten in 1 minute. He consumed 36 hissing cockroaches in 60 seconds. Hissing. The cockroaches were alive and actively protesting their fate while this man treated them like crunchy snacks. He described the experience as having a unique, bitter taste. Unique is certainly one word for it. Another word would be nightmare. Somewhere, a therapist is reading this and booking extra sessions in advance. Rule 6. Wim Hof, also known as the Iceman, holds multiple records related to cold exposure, including the longest time spent in direct, full-body contact with ice at 1 hour, 53 minutes and 2 seconds. Most people can't even handle a cold shower on a winter morning, and this man sits in ice like it's a warm bubble bath. He claims special breathing techniques allow him to control his body temperature. Whether it's superhuman ability or complete insanity, the result is the same. He's sitting in frozen water while we're complaining about our coffee getting cold. Would you freeze yourself for glory, or is your heated blanket too precious to abandon? Rule 7. The record for the most tattooed person goes to Lucky Diamond Rich from New Zealand, who has 100% of his body covered in ink, including the inside of his eyelids, mouth, and ears. He's been tattooed so many times that he actually has layers of tattoos on top of each other. At this point, his skin is basically a lasagna of ink. Doctors have to use special techniques just to examine him properly. He's walking proof that just one more tattoo is a slippery slope that ends with your entire existence becoming a coloring book. Rule 8. If you thought stuffing your face was impressive, try stuffing your mouth with straws. The record for most straws stuffed in a mouth is held by Simon Elmore from Germany, who crammed 459 straws into his mouth at once. His mouth had to hold them for 10 seconds without using his hands. His jaw must have the structural integrity of a hydraulic press. Meanwhile, some of us struggle to fit a whole burger in our mouths. The training for this must involve some seriously awkward moments at restaurants when the waiter asks why you need 500 straws. Rule 9. The Guinness record for heaviest weight lifted with eye sockets belongs to Manjeet Singh from the UK, who pulled a 111-kilogram weight using hooks attached to his eye sockets. Let that sink in. He lifted more than most people can deadlift, using his eyeballs. The human body was clearly not designed for this, yet here we are, celebrating it. Ophthalmologists everywhere are crying into their medical textbooks. Is there any amount of fame worth risking your ability to see ever again? Rule 10. Ever been stung by a bee and thought it was the worst experience of your life? Ruan Liangming from China held the record for most bees covering a human body, with over 637,000 bees, weighing about 63 kilograms covering him simultaneously. He stood there wearing a suit of living, stinging insects while looking surprisingly calm. One wrong move, and he'd have enough venom in him to take down a small elephant. Beekeepers watching this probably had anxiety attacks just witnessing the footage. This is what happens when someone takes Be One with nature way too literally. Rule 11. The record for the longest time spent balancing on one foot goes to Arulanantham Suresh Joachim from Sri Lanka, who balanced for 76 hours and 40 minutes. That's over 3 days standing on one leg like a very dedicated flamingo. No sitting, no switching legs, no complaining about how your foot fell asleep. His leg probably filed for divorce after this. The mental strength required to stand still for that long is more impressive than most physical feats. Most of us can't even stand in a queue for 20 minutes without losing our minds. Rule 12. The most t-shirts worn at once record is held by Ted Hastings, who layered 260 t-shirts on his body simultaneously. He went from normal human to human marshmallow in under an hour. The shirts ranged from small to 20XL to accommodate the growing mountain of fabric. By the end, he could barely move his arms and looked like a cotton-based supervillain. The logistics of putting on 260 shirts is a workout in itself. Would your patience survive layering 260 pieces of clothing, knowing you'd have to take them all off afterward? Rule 13. Kim Goodman from the United States holds the disturbing record for farthest eyeball pop, with her eyes protruding 12 millimeters out of their sockets. She discovered this talent after being hit on the head with a hockey mask. Now she can pop her eyes out on command, like a cartoon character experiencing shock. It's genuinely unsettling to watch, and even more unsettling to think about. Doctors say she has no medical issues from it, but that doesn't make it less terrifying. Some talents are better left undiscovered in a dark corner of your abilities. Rule 14. The record for most spoons balanced on a human body belongs to Dalibor Jablanovic from Serbia, who balanced 79 spoons on his face and body without any adhesive or tricks. He just stood there, covered in silverware like a human utensil drawer. The secret apparently lies in skin oils and perfectly still breathing. One sneeze and the whole kitchen section comes crashing down. Imagine spending years perfecting the art of not moving while covered in spoons. That's commitment most people can't even apply to their gym memberships. Rule 15. The fastest furniture in the world is a motorized sofa that reached 163 kilometers per hour. Yes, someone looked at their living room couch and thought, this needs a jet engine. The sofa is fully functional, meaning you can technically sit on it while it's tearing down a racetrack. It even has a working television and popcorn maker. Highway patrol officers must question their career choices when they pull over a man doing 100 memalahors on a leather three-seater. What piece of furniture would you turn into a racing machine if money and sanity were no object? Rule 16. The record for most watermelons smashed with your head in 1 minute belongs to Tavzi Ahmed from Germany, who destroyed 43 watermelons in 60 seconds using only his forehead. Each watermelon was placed on a stand, and he headbutted them into oblivion like a fruit-destroying maniac. Neurologists watching this footage probably needed to sit down and breathe into a paper bag. His skull must be reinforced with something, because normal human heads don't work like sledgehammers. The cleanup crew for this event deserved their own world record for patience. Rule 17. Shridhar Chillal holds the record for most Guinness World Records held by an individual, with over 700 records throughout his life. He currently holds about 200 active records simultaneously. This man has turned record-breaking into a full-time career and lifestyle. From pogo stick jumping up Mount Fuji to crawling a marathon distance, he's done it all. He's basically the completionist gamer of real life, collecting achievements most people don't even know exist. Do you think one obsessive record breaker is inspiring, or just proof that some people have too much free time? Rule 18. The longest time spent buried alive is 50 hours, achieved by Zdeněk Zaradka from the Czech Republic. He was placed in a coffin underground with no food, just a small amount of water and a breathing tube. For over 2 days, he lay in complete darkness under the earth, while the rest of the world continued normally above him. Claustrophobic people probably stopped breathing just reading this description. He emerged dehydrated, exhausted, but victorious. Some people can't even handle an elevator ride, and this man willingly became a temporary corpse. Rule 19. The record for most apples crushed with your bicep in 1 minute is held by Lindsay Lindbergh from the United States, who crushed 10 apples using only her arm muscles. She placed each apple in the crook of her elbow and flexed until it exploded. This is the most aggressive way to make apple juice ever invented. Her biceps have more destructive power than most people's entire bodies. Somewhere, an apple farmer is watching this in horror, wondering what his fruits did to deserve such violence. Rule 20. The most needles inserted into the head at once is 2009, achieved by Wei Shengchu from China. He had over 2,000 needles sticking out of his skull like a human pincushion who went way too far. Medical professionals have confirmed this is surprisingly safe if done correctly, but that doesn't make it look any less like a horror movie scene. He looked like a cactus that gained sentience and started making questionable life choices. Would you let someone stick 2,000 needles in your head for a certificate and some brief internet fame? Rule 21. The record for longest beard on a female belongs to Vivian Wheeler from the United States, whose beard measured 25.5 centimeters. She spent years growing what most men can only dream of achieving on their faces. She initially hid her beard for most of her life due to social pressure, but later embraced it fully. Now she's a Guinness World Record holder and an icon for self-acceptance. Sometimes the most powerful records are the ones that challenge what society considers normal. Her beard has more confidence than most people's entire personalities. Rule 22. The most swords swallowed at once by a female is 13, achieved by Space Cowboy, also known as Shane Holtgren's partner, the Lady A. She swallowed 13 swords simultaneously, each one capable of causing fatal injuries if done incorrectly. Sword swallowing has a tiny margin for error, making this one of the most dangerous records in existence. One wrong angle and your internal organs become a shish kebab. The trust required in your own abilities is beyond what most humans ever develop. Do you have any skill you'd trust with your literal life on the line? Rule 23. The farthest milk squirted from an eye belongs to İlker Yılmaz from Turkey, who shot milk 2.79 meters out of his eyeball. He drinks the milk through his nose and forces it out through his tear ducts with enough pressure to hit targets nearly 3 meters away. This is simultaneously impressive, disgusting, and concerning. Optometrists worldwide just collectively shuddered reading this record exists. The fact that someone discovered they could do this raises questions about what happened during that first accidental discovery. Some human abilities should remain hidden forever. Rule 24. The record for most people crammed into a Mini Cooper is 28 people, achieved by a team in the UK. A car designed for maybe 4 people, maximum somehow absorbed 28 human bodies through creative positioning and zero concern for comfort. The logistics of entering, positioning, and then surviving this sardine can experience is genuinely impressive. Claustrophobia must not exist for these participants. The extraction process probably looked like a clown car in reverse. Would you volunteer to be person number 27 in a tiny car filled with sweaty strangers? Rule 25. The most toilet seats broken, with the head in 1 minute, is 46, achieved by Kevin Shelley from the United States. He smashed wooden toilet seats over his head, like they personally offended his family. Each seat was a standard wooden one, not some flimsy prop designed to break easily. His skull is apparently made of the same material as superhero shields. Bathroom fixture stores probably have his photo on a watch list. The dedication to discovering you're good at destroying bathroom equipment is a journey nobody asked to witness. Rule 26. The longest fingernails on a pair of hands ever belonged to Melvin Booth, whose combined nail length reached 9.85 meters. Before his death in 2009, his nails curled and twisted like ancient tree roots attached to human fingers. Daily tasks became impossible, requiring assistance for almost everything. He committed decades of his life to growing something most people trim weekly without thinking. The patience and sacrifice required for this record makes it genuinely remarkable, despite being visually unsettling. What would you be willing to give up doing for 30 years to achieve a world record? Rule 27. The record for fastest 100 meters, running on all fours, belongs to Kenichi Ito from Japan, who completed the distance in 15.71 seconds. He studied primates for years to perfect his running technique on hands and feet. He moves faster than many people can run normally, which is both impressive and slightly terrifying to witness. His body has adapted to this movement pattern after years of training. Evolution spent millions of years getting us to walk upright, and this man said, no thanks. Sometimes progress means going backward, literally. Rule 28. The most tattooed senior citizen is Charlotte Gutenberg from the United States, who has 98.75% of her body covered in tattoos at over 70 years old. She didn't start getting tattooed until her mid-50s, proving it's never too late to commit to covering yourself in permanent ink. Her body tells countless stories through its artwork. While most seniors are getting wrinkles, she's getting touch-ups on her full body canvas. She's walking proof that age is just a number and self-expression has no expiration date. Rule 29. The fastest time to burst 3 balloons with the back is 12.85 seconds, achieved by Julia Gunthal, also known as Zlata, using only her extreme flexibility. She bends her spine backward in ways that make chiropractors question their entire profession. Her back essentially folds like a piece of paper to crush balloons against surfaces. The flexibility required for this record takes years of training and genetic predisposition. Most people can't touch their toes, and she can touch her toes with her forehead while facing the wrong direction. Rule 30. The record for most snails on a human face at once is 43, held by Finn Kaler from the United States. He let 43 snails crawl around his face simultaneously for the required time duration, each snail leaving a trail of slime across his features like his face was a garden path. The sensation must be a combination of ticklish and deeply uncomfortable. Snails aren't exactly known for speed, so removing them afterward probably took longer than the attempt itself. Is there any creature you'd let crawl on your face in large numbers for worldwide recognition?